Coming up on this episode of the Mario Rosenstock Podcast.
So his voice was more like...
So, listen, tell us about the mustard and the sausages. Is that a Buddhist thing, or, is it part of your mental health kind of thing when you, do you like mustard on the sausages, Michael, or do you put mustard on your sausages, or do you dislike it?
I put mustard on my sausages. I'm imitating myself now.
Yeah. You're doing an impression of Michael Harding.
That's right.
Yeah.
I put mustard on the sausages.
I put mustard on the sausages.
Yeah.
Well, if you want to hear two grown men go down a whole lot of rabbit holes about amateur Buddhism, existentialism, love, loss and the meaning of life, all with a good handful of great crack thrown in, then you've just hit the play button on the right podcast. Michael Harding is the man. Michael Harding is many things. A writer, a playwright, an actor, a podcaster, a columnist, a philosopher, I suppose. And he's also one of those most captivating speakers you'll have the pleasure of listening to. He has a beautiful voice, of course, as we know, that kind of, that rough. That rough voice, that beautiful. It sounds like rustling leaves in the autumn, doesn't it? He has been up, he has been down. He's been all through the valleys and mountains of life, and he has thought deeply about life and how to live it well. And he loves to share what he has learned in case you might get something of use from it. So as I say at the start of the interview, I just sort of buckle myself into the studio chair when I get ready to talk to Michael. I don't really prepare, and I try to just completely commit to this conversation in a fully Buddhist way, without thinking too much at all about what I'm going to ask, where I'm going to go with it, or where the hell he's going to go. I just wanted to see where we ended up taking it. And the result was, well, you know yourself, you just have to listen.
That sense of the moon, of there being something, if you like, beautiful, at the heart of matter, at the heart of human life. That's something that is in every religion. There's not a shade of difference between Islam and Christianity in relation, or Judaism in relation to the nature of the human soul, or love and compassion, forgiveness. We protect ourselves with our stories. We protect ourselves as, you're you and I'm me, and,
yes.
and we are, and I know these things, and we're doing a podcast because but really, I'm just a fumbling human being. Who sometimes goes to the bathroom and, sometimes has a bit of food and tries to digest it and walk around the place. And after that, I don't know anything.
But I'm just thinking, if we think that Fianna Fáil and politicians are slippery enough already, wait until they get into Buddhism.
Yeah.
Miriam will have no chance.
No.
Sorry, Willie O'D, you're saying you're not born?
I'm not even here with it.
Michael has a beautiful new book out called Midwinter, which I strongly advise you to check out. And our full chat is coming up in just a couple of minutes' time. But I guess it's that time of year, folks, isn't it? It's that time of year when the reign, if you like to call it, of Michael T. Higgins is coming to an end. And we caught him up at the Áras with our microphones, where he is holding a jumble sale, leaving the Áras and giving away to charity a few things that he's collected over the years, a few trinkets. Have a listen.
Yes, indeed, Kate Mila Chocolera Cordia. As outgoing president, it is my honour to hold a jumble sale here at the Áras of presidential memorabilia for the people and, of course, charity. Peruse and purchase at your convenience. Thank you. Yes, madam, how can I help you?
Harry Michael D, how much for the tea cozies there, love?
They're €35 a piece.
I'll give you €20.
No, excuse me, these are personalised presidential Michael D. tea cozies. €35, nothing
I'll
less.
give you 50 for two, so.
I'm not here to haggle. I am the president of Ireland, and the others are
Michael D, Miss McCormack, 50 for two will be grand, thank you.
Excuse me, Sabina, what are you doing?
They're already up on Vinted for €15.
What the hell is Vinted, woman, and why are my tea cozies being degraded? Daniel, thank you for coming.
How are you doing? It's a great honour, Michael D. I'm just flicking through your box of CDs here.
Yes, these are my favourite artists. Clonard, Planksty, Paul Brady, Christy Moore, Kneecap, August Unshin Fontaine's DC, CMAT.
Any of my own CDs?
Are you joking? I mean, you wouldn't be in. You'd be a sort of a unique category.
All right.
I wouldn't put you up for sale at a jumble sale. No,
Okay.
they would be pride of place in my. Anyway, is there anything you fancy?
Do you have any trash metal? Cradle of filth?
I'm afraid.
Infested carcass?
I don't think so.
Toxic dump?
No, Sabine, could you look after him?
It's a toxic dump.
Michael Flatley. What an honour.
Be Jesus, 'tis an honour to be here at your humble home, Michael D.
And wonderful to have you.
May the roof above you never fall in and them gathered beneath it never fall out.
Of course,
Me
yes.
granddaddy, the Tinker Flatley, never missed an old jumble sale in 45 years on the highways and byways of Ireland.
Did he not?
He was a whore for the haggle, so he was.
Well, I'm honoured. Anything of interest to you here, Michael? Is
You're
there
a
any...
big gobs and be Jesus. There's a nice set of gates out there at the front I wouldn't mind taking off you.
I know they're not actually for sale, Michael. You see,
I'll
they're...
give you 800 in cash for the gates. I'll take them off you and throw them in the van.
No, they're the gates of Oros or Nucteron. You would not sell the gates.
Be Jesus, I'll give you 950 in cash. There's one Mickey to another.
I don't think you understand, Michael.
Jesus, you're another whore for the haggle. I'll give you 975 and I'll throw in the old piebald pony behind me.
What piebald pony? Look, excuse
Spitting
me.
it, Mickey. And may the hinges of our friendship never rust.
Look, I'm not selling the gates. Do you
Well,
understand?
what will you take for the lead off your roof?
What lead? What are you talking?
Me lads will have it stripped off your roof and in the back of the van in 10 minutes, be gobs.
Oh, Michael D, look at the helicopter.
I never give anyone permission to land on my lawn.
Oh, it's Bono.
Oh, Bono. Oh, what an honour. What brings you here?
It's 3 minutes in the whirlybird from Dalkey.
Yes.
This is what I came from, mister.
My presidential lectern.
I need to up the ante on my pontifications and pronouncements.
But it's worth over 20 grand, Bono.
Al revolution, Mr. Presidente. Adios.
Adios.
Adios, Bono.
What's that bonfire about, Sabine?
Oh, that's all this rubbish we couldn't sell. The stuff under your desk there that
Rubbish? What rubbish?
The scrolls of paper, you know, that rubbish that was lying around.
That's my poetry! That's my entire life collection of poetry, woman!
Well, I thought they were just children's books.
What the hell have you done, woman? Call the fire brigade, for God's sake!
Michael D.
What, Flatley?
That's a nice bit of red carpet there you have running up the steps. Spit in it now and I'll give you 200 cash and we'll say no more.
An exclusive comedy every week on the Mario Rosenstock Podcast. And a very warm welcome, of course, to our new sponsor. Well, our not new sponsor, but our returned sponsor. On Ice is returned, Ireland's premium ice skating experience, and is bringing back the magic of ice skating nationwide this festive season, with locations in Dundrum and Swords in Dublin, Marina Market in Cork, as well as locations in Waterford and Limerick. Enjoy Ireland's #1 festive and family entertainment this Christmas. Grab your tickets now at onice.ie, and I'll be heading down to On Ice very soon with about 10 very giggly early teenagers to see how we get on there. Well, as I told you earlier, that this episode with Michael Harding is a bit of a different one. I'm not sure that there is such a thing as a normal chat with a man like Michael Harding, and I certainly had no intention of trying to have one. So we kicked off the very start of our chat in the same manner in which we were meant to continue.
In a way, it's such an unnatural thing, Michael, isn't it? To do an interview, to talk to somebody.
Are we doing an interview now?
I'm not telling you.
Are you not?
No.
Okay.
But it is a bit of an unnatural thing, isn't it? It's an unnatural thing, but I suppose you can then just be in it.
I find it completely natural to talk to somebody.
In any.
Yeah, and I don't think it matters if you're on a podcast or on the radio. I think the idea that what's so natural is the idea that somebody is listening to us.
Yeah.
That's unnatural. So I don't think of that. I'm always surprised if I do an interview and then I go out on the street and somebody rings me and says, "What did you say that for?" You shouldn't have said that on the radio. And I said, I didn't kind of think about that.
Yeah. I sometimes get...
But to talk to somebody is natural. I mean, I'm talking to you now, sure, this is... If I went to my therapist, it'd be €60 for the hour. I'd have to pay. Do you know?
I'm trying to make sure now when I talk to you that I'm trying to stay in the moment and get lost in the moment.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't want to be too conscious of the things I want to talk to you about.
Yeah.
Do you know that kind of thing?
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
I was saying to you before we started talking, I was listening to you be interviewed by Brendan O'Connor on Sundays. And first of all, two beautiful voices.
Beautiful.
So his voice was more like...
So, listen, tell us about the mustard and the sausages. Is that a Buddhist thing, or, is it part of your mental health kind of thing when you, do you like mustard on the sausages, Michael, or do you put mustard on your sausages, or do you dislike it?
I put mustard on me sausages. I'm imitating myself now.
Yeah. You're doing an impression of Michael Harding.
That's right.
Yeah.
I put mustard on the sausages.
I put mustard on the sausages.
Yeah. It's a good intro for people to Buddhist ideas, you know, because it really happened. And the woman, that's an example. Like, after all those years, I said that on the radio, that the first lesson I got in Buddhism when I stepped across the threshold of the Tibetan Buddhist Center in West Cavan, and the first lesson I got was about how to put mustard on your sausage. And so I told the story. Now, the story happened to be true. And the woman in question who gave me the lesson was listening to the radio. And she texted me afterwards. And again, I was saying, God almighty, I never thought of, I don't think of somebody listening. But the mustard on the sausage is very simple. If you say to somebody, do you like mustard on your sausage? And an English person will probably say yes, and an Irish person will say, no, I hate it because I hate England. You know, it's that problem that Irish people have just because it says English mustard. They have a kind of a cultural block.
Right.
So they say, I hate mustard. And then you say, well, that's a way to understand Buddhism, because Buddhism is your attachment. So you're attached to the idea that you hate mustard. You actually hate mustard. Mustard in a sausage is obscene. It's disgusting. Right. Yeah. Now, just go home and try a little bit of mustard on your sausage. Now, the fact that mustard does work on a sausage, it will work for anybody, even people who think they hate it. And this is not an ad for
Coleman's
mustard. No. But it genuinely is, it for some reason, it clarified for me in that moment, in one image, the simplicity of Buddhist practice. Yeah. That we are unconsciously attached to just everything. Sausages, rashers, chips. I'm attached to, let's say, fish in the sense that I don't like fish. I think they're bad for you. That kind of thing. So, and there's things I love and there's things I dislike. And then there's people I like. And I really love them. You know, they're my family, or sometimes they're friends and whatever. And then there's other people I don't like at all. And most of them I don't actually know. I might hear them on the radio. And I'd say, can't stand that fella. Like, what can you not stand about him? He's a lovely fella. He's compassionate. He's gentle. He's a family. He's a cat. Why would... I don't know. I just can't... And that's the kind of level of attachments and things that we are repulsed by. And we're unconscious of them. And they're there in our mind stream. And they really shape us. And the way they shape us is, I tell myself the story. I am the person who loves mustard but can't stand that fella on the radio. So I'm telling myself a story. And there's a great old, I think it's a Buddhist phrase that says, the universe is not made up of matter. It's made up of stories. The cosmos. That everything is created out of story, because if you tell yourself a story, it shapes your life. If you tell yourself that you don't like Dublin, you might not come to Dublin. If you tell yourself that you don't like theatre, you mightn't go to theatre, and you'll miss an awful lot of opportunities. So the kind of idea of being negative or positive in your attachments unconsciously is a story. Is trapping you in a story that's extremely limited. And what Buddhist practice is saying, because it's not about a revealed God, there's no deity. Like, there are deities that you practice with for narrative reasons, but not for ontological reasons. There's no ontological concept of a deity within any form of Buddhism. And so what you're doing is mind training. You're doing a kind of a psychological exercises. The Dalai Lama was once asked, again, I may have said this before, but it's always worth quoting, and that is, they asked him what he thought of Western psychology and psychotherapy. He said, it's very good, but it's in its infancy. We've been 600 years at this. Mind training, studying how the mind works, how it unconsciously attaches to certain things randomly, and how you can use practices to liberate yourself from that. And that's where I really think, I'm 72 years of age. If you wanted me to sum up the meaning of life and happiness, it is in that kind of detachment, that the more and more that you can work, and you never win. Like it's not that you read if you meet the Buddha, shoot the Buddha. You know, there ain't no thing there. There is a process of liberating yourself. But you wake up tomorrow morning and there's new accretions of, and the last thing that people actually have to get rid of or detach themselves from is actually the teachings themselves. So you get this thing of, somebody who's a Christian, and then it's like, oh, I'm finished with that stuff. I'm a Buddhist, it's much better. And they're doing the Buddhist thing. And they're gripping this new religion, this new ideology.
And it's the act of gripping, which is antithetical.
It's the act of gripping that is the mistake.
In fact, the physical act of gripping.
Like I'd say I'm still a Catholic, but fuck it, it's all nonsense. Like that's the best kind of Buddhism. Sorry for using that word.
No, that's perfectly fine. The physical act of gripping would be, to use a physical analogy, the physical act of gripping is the opposite to what I think you're talking about, which is actually to let go of the grip.
Yeah. The physical act would be like people attached to alcohol.
Yeah. Or anything.
Or anything.
Or a belief.
Yeah.
Or a dislike.
Yeah.
Or mustard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there you go.
Having said that, you did say this wasn't an ad for mustard. If I was in that big, huge multinational company that produces Coleman's, I'd be straight on to you and Brendan O'Connor, and I'd have Brendan O'Connor doing the first voiceover, and he'd go,
"Do you like putting mustard on your sausages? No? That's a habit you developed over years. Try it.
Yeah.
Mustard."
And then you'd come in with the voiceover and the tagline, you go, "Mustard.
Mustard.
Let go."
English mustard.
Dijon mustard.
Oh, Dijon. Of course you would. You're in Dublin, yeah.
So what you did was, there in the last few minutes, what you did was you not only were you talking about Buddhism, but you were reading my mind, because what I was going to ask you a stupid question, and you actually answered my stupid question. My stupid question was, pretend I'm a 2-year-old dummy, Michael, and teach me Buddhism for dummies. And that's what you've been doing for the last few minutes.
Yeah, I think that's it. It's just letting go of everything, and not in a perfectionist way, not in a way that you're going to wake up tomorrow morning better than you were today, but just letting go of things as much as you can.
And
relaxing in the moment.
And finding what my uncle used to call the beginner's mind.
Yeah, that's it. I've heard that phrase. It's a good phrase, the beginner's mind, because that implies that you never get to a point where you start to grip these new ideas, right? That's lovely idea.
It is a lovely day. My uncle Gabriel, Gabriel Rosenstock, and I remember we did an interview. Myself and him did an interview on RTE Radio with Miriam O'Callaghan. Okay. Because it was me as the nephew and him as my uncle meeting Miriam.
Yeah.
And during it, they got into a very funny
argument. Yeah.
Where two different brains met each other.
Right.
He's very Buddhist in this feeling. So he was there. She was like, "Gabriel, Buddhism. I mean, let me get back to this. So you were born." No, let me see. I was never born. I was never here. I'm not here, and I wasn't born. And Miriam was there. "But you were born, Gabriel. I have it on my notes. You were born. You actually were born." "No, Miriam, you don't understand. I'm not here. It never happened.
Yeah,
I was never born." So we were running into a guy, and I was on the outside going.
Well, I would find that a bit dogmatic. Do you know what I mean?
Go on.
Because it would be gripping a certain teaching. Let's say the teaching of being born or being eternally here. Say, well, so that's gripping. You're holding that very tightly. If you're prepared to argue with Miriam O'Callaghan, like you really are.
Fair negotiator,
right?
Yeah.
And I would reference the Heart Sutra, where it says at the end, the ultimate teaching is that there is no teaching. And this is to say that really you let go of everything. And if my teacher, the Panchen Utral Rinpoche, who is a great and high Lama from Tibet and lives in Cavan, and I remember him once, he was given a teaching, and there was one student up in the front, and he was, sitting in the front very conscious of, I'm best boy in the class. So when it came to any questions, your man put up his hand and he said, Rinpoche, there's some people here, for the weekend, and they're here for the first time. It's the first experience of Buddhism. And I think some of them would find reincarnation difficult to grasp, to understand. Maybe you could say a few words about that, Rinpoche. And the Rinpoche laughed and said, he said, maybe it's not true.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So like it's going with where people are. And this is something that's in the whole sequence of the Buddha's teachings, that they contradicted themselves. If you go through the Buddha original teachings, a lot of them contradict themselves. Because the point is that he will speak to people where they're at. So that you might be saying to somebody to be a good Christian. And this is really the most beautiful, happy thing that you could do in your life. And somebody else, you might be saying something would be quite different. You might be talking to somebody in the secular world and you'd be saying, it's great that you have released yourself from all that ideology.
It sounds like
go on, sorry.
It sounds like the sort of the spiritual version of whatever you're having yourself.
It is, though. It profoundly is. And I'll give you another example of it. A light-hearted example is Tevye in Fiddler on the Roof. And he's talking, now I don't have the detail of this exactly right as to what the argument was, but basically I think it was, he's talking to the first daughter and she's saying, I really can't stand this village, I need to get out of it, and I'm going off with your man to Moscow. And Tevye's saying, you are right, the village life is not good, go, happy, right? And then the next daughter says, I'm falling in love with the baker, or I forget who it was. I'm falling in love with the baker. He's down the street, and I love this village. I'm close to everybody. You're right. The village is the place to live your life. And then his wife says to Tevye, like, she wants to leave and the other one wants to stay. They can't both be right. And Tevye says to the wife, you are also right.
Totally agreed.
Yeah.
But I can see in a primitive Western way, I can see a logic in that.
Yeah.
I mean,
and
that is to be true to yourself.
Yeah.
That is to follow your soul.
Yeah.
That is to listen to yourself.
But hold on a minute.
Isn't it?
Yeah, but hold on. Do you see, the thing is, what is your soul? What are you listening to? Where people make the mistake, I think, again, tentatively, with religion, is that they think, I think I have the answer. It's my soul I'm listening to. I sing correctly. The rest are out of tune, baby.
Okay.
Right? And when I hear people talking about their authentic self, yeah, but can you sing? Are you singing in the notes, or are you just making noise? And so that's where you have to be fierce wary, I think, in the world we live in, to detach. You're detaching yourself from the things that you hold closest. You're letting go. It's almost more like you're letting go of all ideas. It's not to sing. It's not to name your own soul. It's to say, I don't know. I am bewildered. And the more you say that, the more real the room around you becomes. If I start saying to you, even, I don't really know. I don't know what we're doing here, really. And I'm trying to make up sentences that make sense about Buddhism, but I'm not really. I'm not really doing. There's a deeper, confused experience of being me here at this microphone. Now, when I start to slip into that space, you become more real in the room. It becomes a kind of strange intimacy that, we protect ourselves with our stories. We protect ourselves as, oh, you're you and I'm me. And,
yes.
And we are, and I know these things, and we're doing a podcast because but like really, I'm just a fumbling human being, who sometimes goes to the bathroom and, sometimes has a bit of food and tries to digest it and walk around the place. And after that, I don't know anything.
Exactly. Several things there. Hang on. If you don't, it's like fundamentally, it's an exercise in humility.
Yeah. That's a big one. That's a really good one. It actually is. Like people think humility is brave and courageous and self-effacing, but it's not really. Humility is letting yourself off the hook.
Correct, it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember? I saw this amazing film years ago. So it was I think it was. Can't remember the name of it, but I think it was. You'll know the one. Actually, it was a black and white film, right, from a long time ago, and it was about a fella that kept shrinking. It was The Incredible Shrinking Man.
Yeah, I remember that. Mm-hmm. I do remember that. Yeah.
So at one stage, in one element of the movie, it's a B movie, a brilliant B movie, where the husband comes home, and something happens. He takes something chemical, and he starts shrinking.
Yeah.
So about 3 weeks later, he's the size of his son.
Yeah.
But he's still dad, and he's still coming home in the suit.
Yeah.
And the wife is there, honey, I'm so worried. We need to go to the doctor. And he's there, I know, I'm worried too, but I have to go to work tomorrow.
Yeah.
3 weeks pass, and he's the size of the cat, right?
Yeah.
But then they do the scientific effects back then, which were quite primitive. They do them quite well.
Yeah.
And they have his body, and the cat is now his enemy.
Yes.
Because the cat is now a predator.
Yeah.
He's the size of a mouse now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And eventually he loses, if you like, his relationship with his wife because he becomes so physically small that she can't even hold him on his hand on her hand anymore.
Right.
And so there's a beautiful bit where she has him on his hand, and he's kind of saying goodbye to her because he's disappearing. And it keeps getting more progressive. He starts having fights with these tiny ants and spiders who are giant then. And everything. It's brilliantly done.
It's getting scary now.
It's getting very scary.
But it's brilliant because...
It's getting scary and brilliant.
Yeah.
But the end is a revelation.
Yeah.
The end is a revelation. He's going to disappear. And he goes to the window at night in his house, and he looks up, and it goes to voiceover. And he goes, a paraphrase, I'm looking out at the stars. I'm finished. I'm dying. I'm about to disappear. But something is telling me I'm not disappearing. I'm now going to be bigger than ever.
Yeah.
I'm going to merge with every single bit in the cosmos.
Yeah.
And I can feel the love inside me welling up. Yeah. And I'm going now to become part of the greatest love, the biggest love.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, I'm going to be in it and with it and of it.
Yeah.
And it was such a profound philosophical end to what was largely a B movie, but obviously written by a couple of very smart people, or some smart people.
Yeah.
Really what it showed, I took from it was the exercise in humility, the idea that you are as big or as small as you feel.
Yeah.
And no matter how small you are huge.
Yeah.
And no matter huge you are potentially very small.
Yeah.
You get that?
I do, yeah. And it's a lovely way of putting it. The film sounds really brilliant as well, by the way. But it's like what you're describing is a sense of identity we have, which we construct. And it may be, I am an intelligent intellectual, or I'm a funny person, or I'm a loving person, right? But we still construct it.
And we sell it.
And we sell it. So what you're saying is that there's a kind of a fundamentally different, deeper inner self, which you called the soul a little earlier, that is like you belong there, but it's not you. And that's the only way I can describe it. So that the more you take off the self, the more you actually experience happiness. You experience bliss. So the man at the end of the movie is realizing that he's about to disappear. And so he's surrendering, even without his own volition, he's surrendering to something that he starts to instinctively realize, there's something here I'm landing on. I am not who I thought I was. Yeah. I am just, as Rumi would say, a wave of the ocean. I am not the ocean. But to realize you're only a wave of the ocean is to know that that's an ephemeral shape that passes. Yeah. But your true destiny is that sense of union. You would say, the Orthodox say theosis, union with the Godhead. You know? Yeah. And sorry.
Yeah, well, one thing you were saying there just previous to that as well, which I just wanted to jump in on, which was the idea of this letting go idea.
Yeah.
And how letting go, if you said, like, to maybe use a few words, frees you up a bit, right? Yeah. And there are practical, obviously, insights and takeaways from that in life, which we are all aware of.
Yeah.
I mean, for example, remember the idea when you're a young buck or whatever, right? Full of testosterone. Mm-hmm. And you're going out to a pub or a nightclub.
Yeah.
And you're chasing women, right?
Yeah.
And you're so full of testosterone and so full of want.
Yes, it was only yesterday, yes.
Yeah. No, yeah. You're so full of want, right? That you can't get it done at all. You can't close the deal with your one.
Yeah.
There's something about you.
Yeah.
They're terrified of you. There's too much fear. They can smell you. The wasps can smell you.
Yeah.
They can smell the desperation.
Yeah.
Anyway, after a while, chasing women and all this sort of stuff and having no success, one Friday anyway, you just give up and you go, I'm never going to catch the one, never going to get her. Into the club you go, and suddenly you're surrounded by 3 or 4 of them because they can sense you've stopped, you've let go.
Yeah.
You are no longer trying.
Yeah.
You've let yourself go. And so you've embraced humility, maybe, and you've become yourself rather than this selling thing that you were doing.
Yeah.
You went out week after week looking for the woman going, I'm this, I'm that, I'm the other. I'm the caring guy, I'm the smart guy, I'm the this guy.
Yeah.
And then eventually you just gave up and you went, I'm just a guy.
Yeah, you're packaging yourself.
And then suddenly they responded to you.
Yeah.
Similarly, the idea of, and I'll just finish with this because you can jump in there. Similarly, it has other things like in sport. I think Martina Navratilova first coined the expression "in the zone," which we all are familiar.
Right.
She in the 70s, they used to say, "What is this in the zone?" And she said, "In the zone is a time when I'm playing tennis and I see the tennis ball like a football, and it's traveling really slowly towards me, and it's not. I can't miss. I just can't miss. Everything is slow. Everything is stopping, and I'm just moving at my own pace, but I'm traveling enormously quickly." Because I'm in that place, which is the zone, which is not trying. It's just functioning on automatic. And it relates to that stuff that people talk about to do with flow. Flow state, being in a flow state where you let your senses, you let your body do the work. I have my own thing when I write sketches. I have my own way. And that is, when you write a comedy sketch, I don't hope
Go on.
When you write a comedy sketch, one of the problems you're faced with is, how do I write the comedy sketch? How do I make it funny? Okay. Well, I have an idea. The idea is Michael Harding and a mustard and a sausage. Okay. But how do I make it funny? And people get into this is only my own method now. People get into the habit of going, this is a mathematical problem. I must get it right. And so I must make Michael and mustard and the sausage come out at the end and it'll all be funny. What I found that you do over the years, and this is what happened to me by virtue of this pace I have to work, is that you just go, I like the idea, Michael, mustard and the sausage. Just right. Hit your head down and write. Let your hand do the moving. Right. And it happens on automatic. Your brain does things. You have no idea what's going on. And suddenly you write a sketch and you go, oh, that's okay. And what that sketch is, that's the sketch that you wrote that came out of your brain, but you don't really quite know how it came out.
And you didn't know how it got there.
And there was a number of ways it could have done as well. It didn't have to be one. It's not maths. There's no right answer. There is infinite right answers. Infinite. That's the way I find, anyway, just to chip into a couple of little things that you were talking about.
I totally agree. Like, you're talking in different ways, we're talking about the same thing, like at different levels. You talk about Buddhism, you talk about being creative as an artist, you talk about performance, you talk about the romance of, engaging with women. It's always the same. And everybody knows this. I think everybody listening to this would be sort of saying, yeah, I know that. So I like to listen because it's affirming what everybody knows. And that is that naming the bird, you cease to experience the song. The song of life is unnameable. And there's an Islam line that's very beautiful. It's Rumi again. He says, language can bring you to the door, but it cannot bring you into the house. You have to go. It's beyond language to experience the sense of union, if you like, relationality with the universe. The thing that gives you peace because it's the deepest reality in the cosmos. And that's always getting away from the way we have named ourselves. And the only danger then is that the actual going away, the thing that I've now done, is another naming. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And you get people like me who then get trapped linguistically, like Egypts, telling people that they're enlightened. Or I do a lot of meditation. It's very good.
Because you're naming things.
Because you're
labeling yourself and naming it.
Yeah. And then what you talked about the thing with women where they can sense something that's false when a man is trying to construct himself in a way that pleases women, and they say, something about him I don't like. And yet, if he lets go of that, they'll intuitively or instinctively say, he's authentic at this moment. He's a nice guy. Even though he's I can't use dirty words, but you know the word that starts with the B.
Bollocks.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fine.
They'd say he's bollocks, but he's nice. I like him. It's like, why? Because he's actually, they're getting a sense that he's not constructing something. And then, if you add to that, and I'm only going back over some of the things we've said, if you then think about humility, not as some sort of, kind of, as I say, self-effacing Victorian medieval sort of, whipping yourself psychologically, but humility is actually just letting go. It's the guy in the room or at the audition who's just not bothered because he knows he won't get it. And he's relaxed, and I've been there, and he's so relaxed that you get the job because you were completely in the zone.
Because you're an actor, Michael, as well.
Yeah, I'm sitting in a room with 4 or 5 people.
I know,
and they're all so good.
But Bryan Cranston
get the job. I won't get the job.
But Bryan Cranston, the famous actor that played in Breaking Bad, he's very interesting because he's experienced and having gone. He spent a lot of his life as a working actor before he made it.
Yeah.
So he has a lot of good opinions on what's it like to work in that area.
Yeah.
And he said something similar to you, and he said, whenever you do an audition, make sure you know in your heart you have no chance of getting that.
Yeah.
You're gone.
That's it.
By doing so, you will then not only, as you said, relaxed and free, but you will actually free yourself to focus on the job in hand.
Absolutely.
Which is the thing.
Yeah.
Not you getting the job. You getting the job isn't the job.
Yeah.
You getting the job isn't the job. Remember?
Yeah.
You getting the job isn't the job.
Yeah.
The job is the job.
Yeah.
So by you...
Absolutely. You're interrupting yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
In that moment. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You're getting in your own way.
Yeah.
You're actually putting a huge block in front of you.
Yeah.
Doing the job.
Yeah.
By doing this construct saying, I must get the job.
Yeah.
Right. Which is, you mustn't get the job. You must do the job. And then they will decide, the universe will decide if you will have the job.
And in theatre, directors use the phrase all the time, stay in the room.
Yeah.
Stay in the room. I worked one time with Judy Hegarty-Lovett as a director,
Yeah.
And you'd be doing the monologue or whatever, and all the time she'd be saying, Michael, stay in the room, please. She could hear you thinking.
Yeah.
She could hear you think,
Yeah.
She directs Conor Lovett. Yeah. And that's why he's so good.
Yeah.
Because he does Beckett, but he's like in the room.
Yeah.
He never acts.
Yeah. Another thing about acting, which is very similar to what you're talking about. People talk about acting being two different things, which are both similar. Reacting and 2, listening.
Yeah.
So reacting and listening both basically involve you not speaking.
Yeah.
Pretty much not speaking.
Yeah.
It's the idea of being present in the moment.
Being there.
And so people who are good actors, you notice a lot how good they are as an actor by the way they are when the other person who is an imaginary creation is talking to them.
Yeah.
Because they are either there or they're not. They're not waiting to say their next line.
Yeah.
They're there. And that's the kind of magic of it.
Yeah.
Because when we're speaking, it's always, well, I have my job to speak now.
Yeah.
And I must be in the moment and I must be good and hopefully I can get across the sense of what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But it's the person who you're talking to that's the interesting person there.
That's right.
Because they're the one who's not doing anything, but they must be there.
Yeah.
And that's interesting.
Yeah, and it's huge in theatre. And it makes I remember one time I was doing the Ball and McCabe in the Gaiety.
Yeah.
And I had a lovely scene. I won't name people in case I get them wrong, but one of the other actors I had a dialogue with. It was at the start of the second act, and it was funny. So you're in the Gaiety, and the play is opening up. The audience have been for a drink and relaxed, and they come back in they're good form, and you have about 5 good minutes of dialogue with you and this fella playing the son, Paul McCabe's son, and
Shamey.
it's funny, right? And it's lovely. Every night it goes well, and you throw out that first line, whatever it is, and you hear the ripple of love back from the audience, and it's like just like a downhill motorbike. It's lovely. And then you go out one night, and you know you do it wrong. You say the line too quick, or you weren't listening to him, and then for some mysterious reason, the audience goes not just neutral, but you can feel them going hostile because they don't see the funny bit. And that annoys them then, because they instinctively know we should be laughing now, but we're fucking...
It's fine.
We should be laughing, but we're not.
Yeah.
But anyway, I remember that happening once or twice in this particular scene. And like, the direction was always like, savagely, you need to let it go. That it's like football. If you ever have that moment where you drop the ball, don't start thinking about it. Because there's knock-on effect is you'll ruin the whole scene. Yeah. You'll ruin the whole play for the evening. Yeah. And that's amazing that if you are able not to do that, if you're able to immediately let it go, say, I made a mess of that. I've just made a total mess of that first. So it doesn't matter. He's there, I'm here, I'm going to say my line lovingly to him. And suddenly, gradually you find the audience rising back up to you. Yeah. And there's just one other example in the theatre of this kind of being present, and that is I always notice this, or I used to. So the play's going on, and people are saying things like, "Yeah, Joe, yeah, he's a great actor. Yeah, she's very good. She's always good. Yeah." Now they're actually blocking the engagement, the theatricality, the beautiful theatre moment has been blocked by the audience's perceptions. These are good actors. Look at the way they're acting. So in some sense, the audience is also being blocked and not in the moment because they're actually kind of saying, And so you can hear this from an audience, and it's a kind of, it's not a grumble or a noise that you can actually hear with your ears, but you can hear it emotionally. That audience is not paying attention. Now, how do you know the difference? The difference is on one moment when an actor forgets his line, right? So he's supposed to say, I'll see you tomorrow, and he says, and immediately you can hear a pin dropping at the back of the theatre because everybody knows he's lost his line and everybody's now totally paying attention. You've actually entered the first theatrical moment of the play.
Yeah.
The magic is when the audience are looking and thinking, I think he's lost his line. I don't know what he's going to say next. So paying attention is the trick. And it's not easy.
No, paying attention to, I suppose, paying attention to now, and also, well, obviously the obvious thing strikes me, paying attention now these days is harder than ever.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
because because of the increase in distraction.
Yeah, and also the increase in distraction, but also I think the sense that people are getting very locked into convictions. You know, we're living in a world where more and more we very tightly grip, this is my belief.
That's right.
And, you know, I don't want you to annoy me about it.
Which is the antithesis of letting go.
Exactly. Exactly.
So we're moving further and further away from, this is my Buddhist for dummies now, we're moving further and further away and away from a Buddhist.
Yeah, except for one thing. One thing changes everything.
What?
And honest to God, I have this. I was passing the time at lunchtime because I couldn't get any food, but I was reading this thing. Can I read you just a sentence or two? She's a beautiful writer. A. Helwa is her name. Helwa. She'd be very well known, but she's an Islamic kind of mystic person, writer. She says, we are each a galaxy with swirling arms, covered in the stories. We are divinity. We are divinely chosen canvases, masterpieces of hidden symbols, seeds and sacred meanings. The idea that we are the land that the God is planting everything in is why we're not in trouble. you see, we were going to a place where we say, well, there's not enough Buddhist wisdom around. But of course there is, because if everybody's belief, from the major religions to the quantum physicists and many of the secular scientists and philosophers of our age, if everybody agrees that there is some sort of form or ground of reality that we are enveloped in, then we're okay, even if we make mistakes. And that's why I always feel that I can wipe the slate clean every day and start again. You know, because I'm not going downhill, because there is something holding me up.
Yeah. You know, just Buddhism again, right? Just talk me through this. Is religion, like, let's say, let's like take Judeo-Christian or
Hindu, Islam.
Yeah. Is that antithetical in a way to Buddhism? And what I mean by that is this, that they are weighed down with labels, tenets, and identity politics. And it's weighed down with must, can't, forbidden, never, shouldn't, won't, if it does, you will be. It's full of threat. It's full of prediction. It's full of certainty. It's full of absolute certainty. If I've ever heard anything more certain than you will go to hell or you will go to heaven. You really? Will you go to heaven? How do you know? How can you be so certain? How can you be so fixed in labeling things? That person over there who did that is bad. That person over there who did something similar, but it's not too bad. You're just extremely good at labeling. Do you see what I'm talking about?
I do.
I mean, does that not ever kind of... would you never ever wonder about that? That the biggest religions in the world are doing all the things that are the opposite of letting go.
Yeah. I do think like that. I've often thought like that. And we didn't even put in there the misogyny as a kind of a capsule of, you know, singularly narrow judgment on the world that perceives it in a certain way. So I feel that in my lifetime I came through those kind of struggles, and I thought my curiosity kept driving me to think about sort of religious traditions. And now I would say that the more you look into them, the more you realise that what you're saying is only surface. You know, it's really not. It's not what religions are saying at all. Like I honestly feel that if you get into the extraordinary beauty of, you know, Teilhard de Chardin as a 20th century Christian philosopher, or, you know, Maximus the Great in the 3rd century, or Evagrius, as a kind of like a psychotherapist in the deserts of Egypt. You go to these guys and you say, what did they mean by the mystical Christ? Or what did they mean by these things? And you find all the same ideas that you get in quantum physics. And you find at the heart of it every time is the word love. Every time it's about love, compassion, and being your authentic self in the nameless sphere of just being. And that's what the Gospels are saying. The kingdom of heaven is now. You know, that was the wellness phrase of the time, right? It wasn't to do with a linear afterlife that medieval Europe invented after the Black Death, and then we blamed the Jesuits that they all terrified us with hell. But in actual fact, the idea of the kingdom of God was like the wellness, you know, I will make you well, or you will be well if you listen. And constantly, like you could count the amount of phrases in the 4 Gospels that are simply saying the kingdom of God is not in the future. It's not in the afterlife. It's now. It's here and now. This guy was saying, be here now. Okay? Thich Nhat Hanh was saying, be here now. Why do you follow a religious path? The Dalai Lama would say, because people are culturally different and we are such a rich diversity in culture that isn't it glorious that we have so many different pathways towards wisdom. Wisdom being to be here now, to awaken to, if you call it the kingdom of heaven, it's the kingdom of heaven. If you call it living with Christ, it's living with Christ. If you call it in any sense by a newer name, it's still the same thing. The language is only a pathway. And there's a lovely Zen story about that. It's the story of the young monk, the old monk, and they're in the boat. And the old monk points up at the moon and he says, look at the moon. It's beautiful. And the young monk looks up at the moon and he says, yes, it's beautiful. And the story says, religion is the finger. It only points. It only points at the reality. It only directs you to the reality.
Yes.
It's not the moon.
It's all the same thing.
It's not the moon. The finger is not the moon. The religion is not the moon. The religion is not God. God is not a Catholic. So that's where I would defend religion. I think that when you've
well, an interesting way of looking at it.
If you read the mystics, if you read Meister Eckhart, if you read Teresa of Avila, if you read whatever of them, Julian of Norwich is a lovely place to start. 13th century English woman. If you read these people, you get what they're saying, which is like a message of joy, peace, hope, love, whatever you want yourself, what everybody's looking for. Like really and truly, what people are looking for is in the religious texts. It's just they've abandoned them for the moment on the basis that they were giving us too much judgment and they were telling me I'd go to hell. Well, get over yourself. You know, you're a big lad.
Well,
and go
safe
back.
to say there's a lot of bad messengers out there.
Back and read it.
There's a lot of bad messages out there then.
There's a lot of good ones as well.
Yeah,
There's an extraordinary amount
and I'm going to get those names
of good guys. Just one last thing.
Oh, no, it's not a last thing. Keep going. Go on.
But about that subject, because I didn't get round to the difference between Buddhism and all the rest. Like I've been just kind of, putting an argument for all the rest. But the difference is this, that Buddhism is not a revealed religion. So in every other of the major 5 religions, there is a revelation. There is a kind of an intuitive sense that in some way the ground of being has a kind of an ability to articulate meaning and has revealed meaning through this scripture or this person or that person.
Okay.
That's what Buddhism is fundamentally different. Buddhism is a set of propositions, ideas that the Buddha says, test these and see, do they make sense to you? That's all it is. It's a completely kind of psychotherapy.
Not showing you meaning. It's asking you to find the meaning within them yourself.
Yeah. And then what happens is, for me, and I'm saying this like this would be personal to me, I've realized that my enthusiasm as a Buddhist is like a scaffolding around my faith. So I'm a better Christian now than I was 30 years ago because of Buddhism. Because when I went to my teacher and I said, I declared myself as a Christian, he was fully happy to say, well, let's work at Buddhist practice and we'll make you a better Christian.
Okay, exactly, the moon.
Yeah.
It's the direction towards the moon, but the moon is what counts.
Yeah.
Yeah, the moon is the love.
Exactly.
The moon is the joy.
Yeah. And there's a lovely thing comes up. I'm not a scientist. I wouldn't have a clue, but I know enough just from the outside reading or bits of things or looking at YouTube, and you'd see that there's a huge thing in quantum physics that says that there's one famous fella, I think he was a scientist. He said his last words were, the electron is not neutral. That what they talk about particles, that everything is particles, and then the quantum physicist will tell you, well, the particle is actually just a relational position of the wave. Like it's not actually anything. So we think there's something there and there's not. So
we're labeling it again.
Yeah, so what's holding it together? What's holding the cosmos together at a very little frequency, a very precise, narrow corridor of frequency, and all that energy would be just nothing if the frequency changed. And it's very close to the idea of love. Do you know what I mean? That everything is attached to everything else in order to create the bigger, more complex, beautiful thing. And that's the way the universe evolves. So that sense of the moon, of there being something, if you like, beautiful at the heart of matter, at the heart of human life. That's something that is in every religion, and it's mysterious to me how all of them, in separate traditions, reached the same detailed conclusions. There's not a shade of difference between Islam and Christianity in relation, or Judaism in relation to the nature of the human soul, or love and compassion, forgiveness.
Yeah.
That seems like, well, at least they were good psychologists.
That is a mystery, a beautiful mystery.
Yeah. They don't conflict.
No.
Even though they're all fighting with each other.
Yeah. So exactly.
That's the surface.
And that's
the surface.
an irony, isn't it?
That's because they're not reading the books.
That's a huge irony that they're all...
And they're not saying their prayers, because again, all this we're doing, reading books, talking like this, it's all... Thomas Aquinas said this. He wrote about 30 volumes or something of the Summa Theologica, right? He got the whole thing into one, like a cosmic kind of book of the meaning of everything, right? And then when he was finished it, he was going along on his horse one day. He was only about 45 years of age, and he had a nervous breakdown. He fell off the horse, totally in bits, and they took him to a convent to die. And the only thing he kept saying was, it's all straw. You know, the books, it's all straw. Put it in with the horses.
Oh, God.
It means nothing.
Yeah.
Because what had happened, Carl Jung, I think, says this, is that Aquinas had really come to a full, sudden individuation. You get it sometimes in lives of saints or lives of very big guys in history, where it's not a gradual awakening to being in the present moment. It's kind of dramatic.
Yeah.
You know, you're hiding it from yourself for years, and then you have this sudden, intense experience of, let's say, beauty or peace or God or Christ or, you know, whatever.
A couple of things.
God is very...
A couple of things have come out there in my brain. One of them is a little flippant, and that is that Fianna Fáilers should get into Buddhism. It would just help them to answer questions in such a sneakier way than they already do. They get caught all the time.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But all they have to do is just spend some time with the Dalai Lama or that, and then
Willie O'D just starts answering questions. It's all about infinite letting go. Look, we're all about the moon, okay? Now, you asked me, right, about social protection 15%. Just look up at that moon there.
Yeah.
It's the finger, not the moon. And Micheál Martin is the finger.
Yeah.
We're all the moon. And Fianna Fáil is about love. That's what Fianna Fáil is about, Micheál.
Yeah. So that's one thing that occurred to me.
Yeah, you're dead right.
Exactly, of course. But I'm just thinking, if we think that Fianna Fáil and politicians are slippery enough already, wait until they get into Buddhism.
Yeah.
Miriam will have no chance.
No.
Sorry, Willie O'D, you're saying you're not born?
I'm not even hearing it.
One of the things of your book is darkness, winter.
Absolutely.
The idea that we dread winter, that it's almost embedded in your conversations.
Yeah.
Oh, winter's coming, Jesus, the night's closing in.
Yeah.
Well, you embrace this idea of winter.
Yeah.
I can see it for what it's worth. I mean, I'm sure you have far more to say about it than me, but even for what it's worth, I mean, the decay that you talk about, that we all know about, things falling off the trees and all this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But for me, that obviously is the potential for all of that stuff to become part of the whole again and to become anew again, right? So that's one of the points of darkness. So, but I know you.
But do you dread winter?
Is this from a personal thing?
Yeah, just asking you.
I do not.
Right.
I never dread winter. I mean, I'll come at it very, very basically. First of all, so this might. I love the changing seasons.
Yeah.
So the act of changing, the act of going from one constant into the next. I love that locus point where it changes. I love it when you can see the leaves turn a different color. Right. Yeah. Now that's just on a very normal level.
Yeah.
Right. But I like then winter as well, because I always wonder what's it like to live in Saudi Arabia, being a weatherman in Saudi Arabia, right? Well, we go to the weather now with Ahmed. Yeah. That's all.
Yeah.
It's the same every day.
Yeah.
But in Ireland, the weather forecaster, you're basically like James Joyce. It's basically like, well, let me tell you about the weather today.
Yeah.
Now, you haven't seen anything like this, folks.
Yeah.
It's changing, but it hasn't changed yet. It's sort of on the curb of changing. Yeah. And like, we have 4 seasons in one day, but 5 seasons in 1 year.
Yeah.
And that's changing as well because of Mother Nature.
Yeah.
But so I think it's part of our I think it's part of our collective consciousness up here
Yeah.
to know change, to know the way evolution happens.
Yeah.
And I would think a lot of people embrace it. I suppose you have your things. I mean, you suffered with depression.
Yeah.
And winter
became the symbol of it.
Exactly. And also ain't good for it.
Yeah.
Physically.
Yeah.
Because of the lack of light.
That's right.
And it closes down your light.
You have to take your vitamin D.
Yeah, and suicide, sorry for being a bit Alan Partridge about this, but suicide is more prevalent in Scandinavian countries, Michael. And why is that? Because the sun's never fucking down. They're all topping themselves.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, so, but there is a certain element of truth in that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And hence those ABBA songs, which are so sad.
Yeah, yeah.
The ABBA songs. The winner takes it all. The loser has to fall. The ABBA songs, the Scandinavian songs are so, even the happy songs they have are so sad.
Yeah.
There's a great song called Super Trooper. Do you ever remember?
No.
So ABBA.
Yeah, okay.
Because like a super trooper, beams are gonna blind me, like I always knew, trooper.
I remember it, yeah.
But the words of the song are desperately sad.
Yeah.
She talks about being in a band who's chained to success.
Yeah.
So much success that they can never go home and be with the family.
Yeah.
She's singing songs tonight to 20,000 of their friends, the audience, but all every one of them are strangers.
Yeah.
She doesn't even know any of them. But you're surrounded by all these people who love you, but nobody knows you.
Yeah.
So very, very sentimental and nostalgic songs. Yeah. Scandinavian.
Yeah.
And, it's part of the sort of the kind of lacrimal sort of sad feelings that can. So you had that, you see.
I did.
And you made your way out of it because you say all things pass.
Yeah.
Or most things pass.
It was a mixture of that kind of Buddhist practice to disengage from things and trying to disengage when I would get sweeps of emotion, sweeps of kind of terrible negative emotion that life is awful and I can't cope and I can't get out of the house or something. And using Buddhist practice to overcome that. But also, I think I also did use the Christian thing that I started using, like, lighting candles in front of icons. And that helped. And the reason the only thing I say to people about religion is, like, if it gets you through the day, use it. Because the only place we want to get to is being happy and at peace in the now. Now, I think that the weather affects it, definitely. But I also think that probably, I've only thought about this like now when I'm talking to you, and I'd say you live in an urban area. Am I right?
And it's scary.
That's like rural. That's
little village.
It's kind of beautiful village, but it's still in the cluster of like lights and urban.
Yeah, it is.
You got to see, it's lovely, but you're still there. What I'm saying is that the winter metaphor is probably coming from our memory of rural life. That even with electricity where I live in rural life, there's nights can be ferocious.
Oh, Jesus. Have you seen The Weir?
Yeah, not the recent one, but yeah.
But The Weir talks, this is exactly what The Weir is about. What is it like to live in a house in the middle of feckin' Leitrim?
Yeah.
It's dark.
Yeah.
Dark.
Yeah.
The darkness you've never seen before. Yeah. They go on about it in the play.
Yeah.
Like you just can't imagine the blackness.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can see.
Try Donegal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
black.
I spend sometimes like the winter in Donegal now. Yeah, in West Donegal.
Yeah.
And it's like there's days where, like in the summer in Donegal, I'm around West Donegal, around Annagry, that area, Rannafarsta, Tameg Fulham and Gellig. They're not Irish, but people would be saying things like, you'd see in the summer, no cat. I used to always wonder, why did it have no cats in Donegal? Because I'd think of bringing a cat. And then you'd notice the men are always out mowing the grass. Like, it's like to have an issue. Therapists could be brought in to figure out why men are so committed to fucking totally shaven, like 5 acres around the house. And it's amazing. And it looks like billiard tables and it's beautiful. And they don't go in. Here's an interesting thing too about Donegal, West Donegal. They don't go in for fences. They don't define the parameter of their property. So that it all blends into one, and it's lovely. And it has a psychological effect on you. Now, the reason they don't like the cats, the reason why they're doing everything like that, is because if something is not battened down by October, it'll fly away.
Yes.
The cat will fly away. Everything will be gone.
Yes.
So when winter comes in Donegal and you have a stormy night...
Oh, I can see where you're going.
It can be really dark.
You've done a Buddhism on this as well.
Yeah, and then you wake up in the morning...
Donegal is letting go.
And then you wake up and it's dark and you go to bed and it's dark and it's like after about 3 days you think, this is a dark kind of place.
Yes, but Donegal isn't building fences because it's letting go.
Well, I wasn't thinking like that, but I was more just thinking that how beautiful it is in the summer when all the holidaymakers are there and how desolate, like Leitrim or anywhere else in a rural place can be in winter. And I think that even when we're living in urban areas, we carry with us the metaphor of winter. That it's like, it's almost like our own life as well.
Yes.
You know, our life, every 10 years, you're a bit older and you're a bit more paying attention to the pain in your knee or your leg or something. And as you get older, it's like you're going in this inevitable direction of winter. So it calls out a sense of, is this it? And winter tells you the opposite. Winter actually tells you, no, it's not. It's a cycle. There will be another life. So you will live forever. And if you're ever on the Marion show, Miriam O'Callaghan, you just tell them, no, I was never born. I'm here forever, baby.
We leave it there. Do you listen to music?
I do, yeah.
Yeah, I always, because just on the theme that you were talking about, there's a lovely Bob Dylan song that I always tell people to listen to that I love, and it's from an album he did called Time Out of Mind in 1997, and it's called It's Not Dark Yet.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know it?
I don't know.
So one of the lyrics is very big Bob Dylan, and I'm always ramming this down people's ears. He says, this is so simple now, but he says, I was born here and I'll die here.
Yeah.
Against my will. And it's that whole idea of being powerless over what and who and when you are.
Yeah.
That you are just thrown into this world and you are thrown out of it and nothing has anything to do with you.
Yeah.
So why do you think you'll have any power in the middle of it if you have no power at the beginning and no power at the end? It's funny, but it's called It's Not Dark Yet, and obviously Not Dark Yet is the idea that he's getting a little older towards winter, but it's not.
I seriously love these guys, Dylan and Cohen. And Dylan again, like, you got to serve someone, such wisdom in it. But then Cohen, you come to Leonard Cohen and he says, like, in his almost last breath, he does a final album and he calls it You Want It Darker?
Yeah.
And he goes away and he dies like he walks away into the cosmos. And the week after, Donald Trump arrives.
True.
Just like that. And that was Cohen's last line as a great prophet.
True.
You want it darker?
Yeah.
Here it comes, baby.
David Bowie died at the same time.
He did.
Yeah. That's interesting. Michael, so lovely to talk to you.
It's a privilege talking to you.
No, it's just such great because you do enjoy the process of talking.
Oh, I love it.
I've noticed.
Yeah.
And I don't mean, and I think you find that you like to be in that moment.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, and people live with me like me.
Thinking and talking and
listening. They have
listening.
a hard time listening to me. Yeah, I go on the whole effing night.
Well, thank you. I had a great hour.
No, I really enjoyed you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
That's it from me and this week's Mario Rosenstock podcast. And that's it from Michael Harding. I always end up feeling much better when I talk to Michael. It's like therapy for me anyway. I go home with a kind of, wistful smile on my face. Thanks to Michael. Thanks to you, of course, for listening. If you like the podcast, please tell just one other person about it in a very Buddhist way if you can. Acceptance. Just let it happen. And I would like you to also pay heed to our sponsor, onice.ie, who rejoin us after last year. On Ice, Ireland's premium ice skating experience. Open, not nationwide, but like Shaw's, almost nationwide in Dundrum Swords, Dublin, Marina Market and Cork, as well as locations in Waterford and Limerick. Take care, folks. I'm on tour at the moment. If you want to catch me, I'm just finishing a run on the Gaiety. I'm going to Wexford soon. I'm going to Derry. And I'm going to Galway, Leisureland. So catch me at any one of those dates. Bye-bye.